What's up, Euro Football Daily? With the halfway point of the season on the horizon, let's take a look at 10 players who either need to step up their game or get some better fortune in the second half of the campaign. But which player has disappointed you most this season so far? Let us know in the comments below, and the best one will get read out on Sunday Vibes. 10. Tiémoué Bakayoko. Having spent a happy season on loan at Milan back in 2018-19 and impressing for Napoli last term, Tiémoué Bakayoko's return to the San Siro this summer, this time on a 2-year loan with an obligation to buy if certain conditions are met, was generally seen as a big positive for the Frenchman's career. But so far, the former Monaco man has struggled. Even after returning from a muscle injury in the middle of October, Bakayoko has registered just one start in Serie A, getting subbed off at half-time against Sassuolo, and with the seemingly immovable double pivot of Franck Kessié and Sandro Tonali otherwise keeping him firmly on the bench. And with Ismail Bennacer having also dropped down the pecking order this term, competition in the Rossoneri midfield is tougher than ever. As Stefano Pioli chases down a first title for the club since 2011, Bakayoko can only pray that his services will be required again. 9. Luke Shaw. Arguably the best left-back in Europe last term alongside Milan's Theo Hernandez, Luke Shaw was almost as instrumental to Man United's attacking play as Bruno Fernandes, creating more chances than any other fullback in the Premier League. He was also solid defensively, winning 75% of his tackles, and backed up his club form with some excellent displays at Euro 2020, making England fans dream with his opener against Italy in the final and providing 3 assists across the tournament. But it's been a different story for the former Southampton man so far this season. Like teammate Harry Maguire, he started the campaign looking jaded from the summer's activities, and his performances have taken a big dip, with the errors of old creeping back into his game. Considering how disjointed United have been generally, the fact his key passes have only dropped from 2.4 to 2.1 per 90 is pretty impressive, but he's nowhere near as active as usual in build-up, with his 5.7 progressive carries and 4.3 progressive passes per 90, his worst showing in over 4 years. With changes finally being made in the Old Trafford dugout after over a month of increasingly worrying results, fans will hope a new regime can kick Shaw back into shape. But if Ralf Rangnick sees more in Alex Telles than Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did, then his place could be under threat. 8. Junior Firpo. Another left-back who has struggled in the Premier League this season is Junior Firpo, but it's been quite a while since we've seen him on top form, nearly 3 years in fact. One of the key components of Quique Setien's exciting Real Betis outfit, Firpo excelled as a left wing-back at the Benito Villamarín, registering 3 goals and 4 assists in the 2018-19 campaign. That earned him a move to Barcelona, but he struggled to dislodge Jordi Alba at the Camp Nou, and while a switch to Marcelo Bielsa's Leeds had many anticipating a career revival, it hasn't happened yet. Firpo has been in and out of the side due to injury and has often struggled defensively when he's been on the field, and this is hardly all his fault. Hindered by an injury crisis, Leeds have looked far from great this term, and for a side that give away big chances at the best of times, it's hardly an opportune moment for a defender with 0 Premier League experience to enter the team. His underlying numbers suggest he suits Bielsa's high-energy system. He's making 3.5 tackles and interceptions per 90, is creating over a chance a game, and ranks well for attempted pressures too. But with Stuart Dallas and Pascal Struijk also able to play in his position, and Bielsa often opting for a 3-3-3-1 formation, the 25-year-old faces a battle to establish himself at Elland Road. 7. Giovanni Lo Celso. Another player who enjoyed some of his best form at Betis, Giovanni Lo Celso was the club's top scorer in his 1 full season in Spain, impressive given he played a number of different roles under Setien, excelling at number 10 and in defensive midfield. But his career has stagnated since moving to Tottenham in 2019, and he struggled in particular this season, becoming a scapegoat for the club's disastrous form under Nuno Espirito Santo. Given he's only been afforded 2 starts in the Premier League, that's pretty unfair, but it's also a damning reflection of where he stands in the Spurs squad right now. Currently injured, Lo Celso has it all to do to impress new coach Antonio Conte, with both Pierre-Emile Højbjerg and Harry Winks both impressing since he took over, and both Dele Alli and Tanguy Ndombele also vying for places in the midfield. If the Argentina international is unable to lay down his marker under Conte, then it's hard to see a time when he can succeed in North London. It very much feels now or never for Lo Celso. 6. Rafael Santos Borré. Replacing a striker who netted 28 Bundesliga goals last term, more than Erling Haaland, is never going to be easy, especially for a player with only limited experience of playing in Europe. But nevertheless, Rafael Santos Borré has endured a disappointing start to life at Eintracht Frankfurt, who have struggled following the sale of Andre Silva to RB Leipzig in the summer. A Copa Libertadores winner with River Plate, Borré has found it hard to make an impact in the Bundesliga, with just 2 goals from 13 appearances, while his shots in the box have dropped from 2.4 to 1.6 per 90. His chance creation has also dried up, registering just over a key pass every 2 games, down from 1.6 per match at the Monumental. This of course doesn't help that he's playing in a side which struggles to create full stop, with Frankfurt ranking 4th bottom in the German top flight for expected goals. For context, only Bayern, Dortmund and Leipzig bettered them in this metric last term under Adi Hütter. Borré still has the trust of manager Oliver Glasner, ranking 4th in the squad for minutes played and yet to miss a game. But if Frankfurt are going to avoid finishing below 10th for the first time since 2017, then the Colombian striker needs to start scoring. 5. Andre Silva. The Portuguese number 9 has scored just 3 times in the Bundesliga this term, finding the net just once in almost 2 months at the time of recording. His form has been slightly better in the Champions League, scoring and assisting against PSG, but it wasn't enough for Leipzig to escape the group of death, and he's hardly head coach Jesse Marsch's first choice in attack, starting just 2 league games since September and ranking 13th in the squad for minutes played. A far cry from last season at Frankfurt, where he missed just 2 games and played more than anyone bar goalkeeper Kevin Trapp. So far this term, he's been outscored by 4 other teammates, including Yusuf Poulsen, who's played even less than him, while Christopher Nkunku has emerged as the side's talisman with 8 goal involvements in 12 starts. But it's Silva's underlying numbers that are truly worrying. While Leipzig aren't as productive under Marsch as they were under Nagelsmann, Silva's 1.1 shots per 90, down from 3.8 last term, is truly pitiful. Even defender Willi Orban is averaging more than him. And while he is still finding decent positions in the box with all his efforts coming from inside the area, this huge drop-off suggests his game is simply not suited to the style of football Leipzig play. It could be a long old campaign for the 26-year-old. 4. Kieran Trippier. A target for Man United in the summer, Kieran Trippier's 3rd season at Atletico Madrid has not been anything to write home about. Considering how important he's been to Diego Simeone since signing in 2019, this is pretty disappointing, with the Englishman's key passes dropping by half compared with last term, and his defensive output dropping significantly too. With Simeone experimenting with a number of different formations in recent months, Trippier has failed to deliver to his full potential as a wingback, with most of the side's chance creation coming from Yannick Carrasco on the left. A dislocated shoulder has since put him out of action, with some reports suggesting he could be out until 2022. So in some ways it feels harsh including him on this list, considering he may not have a chance to improve his form for some time. And with Atleti now facing a potential exit from their Champions League group, the former Tottenham man will be even more frustrated at the timing of his latest injury. 3. Lionel Messi. Although he's yet to start 3 consecutive Ligue 1 games due to injuries and fitness, it's still pretty surprising that it took Lionel Messi almost 3 months to register his first goal contribution in the French top flight. His record has of course been better in the Champions League, netting 3 including a superb winner against Man City at the Parc des Princes. But considering just how mind-boggling his move to PSG in the summer was, it's hard to see his first months in Paris as anything other than a disappointment. We are yet to see him produce magic with Kylian Mbappe and Neymar on a consistent basis, and unlike at Barca, where he was the lifeblood of the side, PSG's relative lack of reliance on him have seen his numbers drop. He now takes just 1.7 shots in the box per 90, by far the lowest average of his career, while he's also creating fewer than 2 chances and completing just over 2 dribbles a match, some way off his superhuman best. Of course, this is Messi, and so given a more consistent run, we'd expect to see his output explode in the second half of the season. Fans will hope his hat-trick of assists in their recent win over Saint Etienne can act as a springboard. But with the huge, long-held expectation of Champions League glory at the state-owned club, the Argentinian maestro will need to deliver in the knockout stages to make his blockbuster move worthwhile, in a footballing sense at least. 2. Dejan Kulusevski. Undoubtedly one of the most disappointing transfers of recent seasons, Dejan Kulusevski's €35 million move from Atalanta to Juventus has bore little fruit so far, with the Swedish forward struggling to replicate the form that saw him net 10 goals and 8 assists on loan at Parma in 2019-20 when he was still a teenager. But while he wasn't exactly ever present last term, with 16 of his 35 Serie A appearances coming off the bench as Federico Chiesa thoroughly outshined him, there was still a sense he was slowly making progress in Turin, with his excellent opening goal in the Coppa Italia final suggesting there were better things to come. This term, however, his game time has completely dropped off, with returning manager Max Allegri affording him just 3 league starts. And while 2 of those starts came very recently, he stayed glued to the bench for their crucial tie against Atalanta. Clearly untrusted by the Juve boss, the 21-year-old is now being touted for a move away, with Arsenal the club most prominently linked with his signature. But do you think he should pursue a transfer, or should he wait for his chance, potentially under another manager at Juve? Let us know down below. 1. Nicola Pepe. This brings us nicely onto our final pick, as the man Kulusevski is thought to be replacing at Arsenal should a move happen, is Nicola Pepe. The Cote d'Ivoire international has struggled for form and game time this season, with Mikel Arteta handing him just 5 Premier League starts so far. Disappointing given that his 10 league goals last term suggested he was finally making some progress at the Emirates. What's more, his underlying numbers suggest his talents are not being fully appreciated by the Gunners' boss. He's creating more chances, completing more dribbles and taking more shots per 90 minutes than anyone else in the squad. But it's also true that his performances are wildly inconsistent, and with the more reliable Bukayo Saka taking up his position on the right, he's played just 5 minutes of action since the middle of October. Reports that the Gunners are willing to offload Pepe for just £25 million, almost 3 times less than the £72 million they paid for him in 2019, are a damning reflection of his time in North London. If a move presents itself in January, it would be wise for the 26-year-old to take advantage. So those were our 10 players fighting to save their season, but which of these do you have the most faith in? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this vid, don't forget to leave it a like and subscribe to EFD if you haven't done so already. Thanks for watching, we'll see you next time.